Today we're going to talk about SEO and website speed using Adventure Out Loud as our example. It's a big topic, so we're going to focus in on the speed of your website and how that matters and how YouLi can help you transform your site from a slow website to a super fast website or a website that balances speed and content. So we're going to talk about the trade-offs that come into play with SEO and introduce a few concepts and just demonstrate how YouLi can solve some of these problems for you on the technical side. So first of all, you may recognize Google Search Console. If you're already tracking your reputation, you might know how to see your average position for your brand query, which is a really important one to focus on for smaller businesses. So this is an example of Adventure Out Loud. They are just at the beginning of building their reputation, but already their average position is 7 for their branded keyword Adventure Out Loud. And they get about 10 clicks over the past 3 months. So this is the benchmark. They're just getting started, and we're excited to see them grow that as they relaunch their trips now that Australia is reopening. So this is the technical side of it on the Google Search Console. But what drives this kind of click-through and average positioning is very complicated and, of course, somewhat secretive by Google. But one thing that is really clear is the speed of the website matters a lot. So there's a tool that's published by Google called the Page Speed Insights. Now, this is the Page Speed Insights for the old website for Adventure Out Loud. And so you can see here that they are scoring a 19 on mobile and a 32 on desktop. So these are both in the red range. We'll talk a little bit more about that shortly. But just so you get a sense, this is off of a standard template on a WordPress website. So this is the old Adventure Out Loud website that served them well and got them off the ground. It was something that they were able to put together on their own and serve their purposes. But any great travel business is going to outgrow their first website, and that's what happened to Adventure Out Loud. So they came to us and asked us to improve that experience. So rebuilding a full website like this can take a little while, and we recommended that they actually migrate to a plug-and-play website as a temporary location to start building the reputation that you saw on the Google Search Console on their new domain, which is adventureoutloud.com.au. So the great thing about this is that it allows them to showcase the trips that they sell in a very simple, clean place, along with terms and conditions, privacy policy, and about, and a contact, and a way for people to find their trips, as well as to find them on social media. Plug-and-play websites take very little time to set up, and it's all about the content that the customer puts in. It's a completely no-code platform, so it's really easy if you don't know anything about web development and you don't want to pay for developers. Not only that, it's fast to set up, you don't need developers, and look at this score. So this is Page Speed Insights on the plug-and-play website for Adventure Out Loud. On mobile, it's an 80, and on desktop, it's a 92. So going from being a 19, which is very bad, and a 32, quite bad, to being an 80 and a 92 without knowing anything about development, anything about code, and being able to go live within a week. That's pretty good for a plug-and-play website. Now, the downside of a plug-and-play website is, of course, not a lot of content, and so it's not necessarily telling the full story. So while a plug-and-play website can work for many brands that are just getting started, of course, for someone like Adventure Out Loud that has a lot more to say, this was just a stepping stone. And so we worked on the design of their brand new website. And here we are with their brand new color palette. We changed their blues and their reds to be more appropriate for their audience. We helped them find beautiful photos to really draw in the eye. And so you can see the difference between their old site and their new site. And you can see here, not really clear how they're distinct, and their impact is kind of lost a bit in the text, whereas in this design, we brought the fact that impact is what drives their business. We brought it to the forefront. So immediately, you know when you're traveling with Adventure Out Loud, you're having an impact. So these are a few things. There's so much in this site. Steph Chung puts so much energy into really bringing the design elements into the design and the brand elements into the design so that you know that you're on the AOL website and you know that you're supporting local communities. Whereas the old website was pretty generic. And so it wasn't entirely clear what it was that made you want to book with Adventure Out Loud as compared to any other adventure safari company. And of course, the question becomes, once you expand and you put all this content onto a site, because you have all of these links, the blogs, the FAQs, the galleries, all of these options, it's going to make it a heavier website. So it is going to be a little bit slower. So let's take a look at the page speed for the new website. So here we say the mobile is 54, which is still in the orange, which is far better than being in the red, and the desktop, which is an 84. So still pretty good. So if we jump back, we can see, yeah, the plug and play was a 92 because it had so little content and almost no JavaScript, and an 80 on the mobile. But again, it didn't tell the full story. And so here you can see the trade-off that gets made between a really lightweight, low content website and a heavier website that tells your full story. And what we did in working with Adventure Out Loud is to make sure that we made the right balance. Because of course, SEO is only one part of it. People finding your website is great. But if the speed means they find it, but it doesn't tell your full story, whereas this means they get the full story and it drives them to book more, then that's going to be worth the trade-off in terms of speed versus the amount of content that you want to have on the page. So these are the kinds of considerations that we work with our clients to think about, and we help them make the right kind of balance between optimizing for page speed and optimizing for content, and ultimately being able to relaunch with a brand new, beautiful website that they can be proud of, and they're very happy to drive their customers to.